Hello, everyone. Welcome to our podcast show, Knowledge to Inspire. I'm Lauren Patterson, author of Freeing Your Heart for Love.
And I am Tiffany Patlin, best-selling author of Unlocking Your Ability to Heal.
Our sole purpose is to discuss a variety of topics, both popular and taboo. We will be sharing our personal experiences and present experts, inspiring guests, professionals, and upcoming authors, all with the knowledge and wisdom to inspire you. So, Tiffany, what are you toasting to today?
Let's see. Something simple, but that makes a big difference is that I am in a good place, like with my work, because it's been kind of crazy, but I've been feeling like a sense of calm. And I don't know if that's because, I don't know what it is. I'm just in a really good space, and I really want to celebrate that because I'm grateful for that. And I'm sure we all know an attitude of gratitude brings more abundance into your life. So
yes, I love that.
That's mine. What's yours?
I love that. I'm celebrating, almost done with my book proposal. So that's the book
right?
proposal. Yes.
Yay. That is so exciting.
Yeah, I worked with the collaborative writer to help me put it together because I realized, wait, if you ever write a book proposal, it's basically your book business plan. And if you're not used to writing a book proposal, like we both wrote books, but if you don't write book proposals like this lady does, it typically doesn't come out right. Because you have to do a market analysis, you have to do a competitive analysis, you have to, there's a lot of other components to a book proposal, and it's not like writing your book. So I really had to step back and get somebody to help me. And it's been probably a month we've been working on this with quite a bit of revisions. I mean, it's only a 35-page document, really, but it's a lot. There's a lot of things in there. You put your social media platform in there, and so I learned a lot about writing a book proposal. But once you have it, there's your book plan. That's your book management plan, is what they like to call it. It's good to have one, so I can share that with you so that you could do one.
Yes, please. I want one.
Yeah, everybody, because they were saying, even if you don't go traditional publishing and you stay self-publishing, it's still a good document to have because it essentially has your book management plan in there. Right. So it's just good to have, So yeah, I'm going to share mine with you. But once I get it back, I should get it back Friday.
Oh, that is so cool. I'm so totally going to do one.
Yeah. And then I'm going to enter the April contest for the Hay House contest. And then they announced the winner June 14th. So
woohoo, that is an amazing celebration. Good for you.
I hope I win. I've been crying. I've been emotional thinking about, I visualize being in their office, signing a contract. I did a 3-minute video that I hyperlinked in my document to show them why choose me.
That is so cool. I'm so excited to see it.
Yeah, I'll share it with you once I get it. I'm so excited. Suzanne wants to see it too, so I'm going to share it with the two of you.
Yeah, we could do a Zoom call together and hang out and just watch it.
Yeah, we can have a
that would be cool.
Zoom happy hour or something.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, so our guest today, Tiffany, is Dr. Kylie Burton, because March is Endometriosis Awareness Month. And I have experience with that because I had that condition up until a couple years ago when I finally found a doctor who treated me and took care of it. So I'm interested to see what she has to say, because it's just based off of the research I've done, it's a hard condition to diagnose. It's always mistreated. So
yeah, I looked it up and it says that it's a disorder in which tissue that normally lines the uterus grows outside the uterus.
And some people have a lot of pain. I had a lot of bleeding during my menstrual cycle, where it was literally, Tiffany, for one whole day, I would go through every half hour I had to change. And that's not normal. It's debilitating. I couldn't even work. If I went to a meeting, sometimes it would go through my pants because it was so much coming out, and it was crazy. It's crazy. And I had no idea what I had. No doctor could really diagnose me. So I lived with it for a long time before it just got out of control.
And it's so common. It says 200,000 US cases per year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm kind of a little disappointed that the doctor couldn't tell you. I mean,
well, because they kept saying you're too young. I mean, I finally got my uterus and my fallopian tubes taken out, but no doctor wanted to do that. But by the time I had reached this doctor, I was begging her practically, like, I really don't need it anymore because I'm not having babies. So, you know, can you just, I mean, I'm already in my 40s, you know, can you just help me here? And I also did this birth control procedure that I think messed my body up a little, where they insert these little hair-like screws into my fallopian tubes, and then your scar tissue grows around it, and it blocks the sperm from going to your ovaries. And I think when I did that procedure, messed me up. And now there's studies, I can't remember what the name of it was, but there's studies now of women who have problems because of what they did. Same thing I did. So don't put foreign objects in your body if you don't have to, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I used to, back in the day, you know, I at one point thought about breast implants, you know, I thought about things, but I'm thankful that I never actually did those things or anything to my body like that because of everything that you just said. And a lot of women, they suffer and they're just getting sick, and it kind of breaks my heart. I see all these girls, young girls, beautiful young girls, you know, trying to just go out there and alter their appearance. Girls, you're beautiful. You know, you young girls are so beautiful, you know, sport that natural look, you know, enhance your favorite features, you know, you're beautiful, you know, get that self-love going.
Yeah. I mean, I got the breast augmentation and I don't want them anymore, but guess what? Insurance isn't going to pay for them to take them out. I got to spend probably another $6,000 to get them out because I've already been declined. I even went to an appeal. They won't approve it because it's cosmetic surgery. They don't cover cosmetic surgery.
But you're not, do you know if you're getting any symptoms from it? Because I know
I have that, what they call the breast implant illness, what a lot of women are getting. But
Lauren,
they won't take it out. It's in the left breast, but you know, I'm just going to have to, that's another thing I'm going to have to down the road, you know. I know some other lady that I know, she just had hers taken out. She had hers for 20 plus years. I'm going on 16 years. I've had these things in my body. So I know it's contributing to a lot of my health, you know, issues. I mean, I don't have really bad ones, but there's days when I'm like, why am I feeling this way? You know, it's just, I don't think those things are supposed to be in your body that long, but I'll cross that road later.
I just want you to be around. I don't want you to go anywhere. So
yeah. And you know, my husband's like, I like natural. I'm like, okay, well, I write about it in my book about getting them, you know, and it's like, back then I was comparing myself to this girl that I knew who I put in my story, and she had them, and I wanted her life so bad. I don't know why. I just wanted her life. So I'm like, I'm going to copy her. I was like obsessed with her. And she was beautiful Italian girl with this beautiful curly natural hair. And she just had, like, for some reason I was fascinated by her life. And that's what like prompted me to get breast implants, because she had them. Of course, she went bigger. And so after I got them, I'm like, I should have went bigger.
Oh, no.
But it's like all those things. And it's like, now I regret it. I'm like, why did I do that? You know? Yeah, it was good in the short term, but long term, I mean, either you redo them or you take them out. I mean, I eventually have to redo them, but I'm not going to redo them. I'm just going to take them out. Oh, so she's on now. Let me grab her.
Guest is on.
Hey. Oh my gosh. I have to look under this camera to admit her. It's so weird.
I don't see her, so I can't do it.
Here she is. Hi, Dr. Burton. Oh. Hi, Dr. Burton.
Hey guys, how are you?
Hello, how are you?
I'm doing good. Are we doing video? Because I can totally change my background if I need to.
Oh, that's totally up to you.
Yes, we are doing video.
Okay, let me.
But we like your background too, if you're okay with that. Oh,
Ooh,
nice.
that's nice. That looks so weird. Like that was weird.
That's only because it's the green screen behind me. And as I rotated to the green screen, the computer automatically picked it up.
Yeah, that was kind of cool though. It looked like you did a magic trick. That's awesome.
Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, for sure.
So I have a little bio here. You want to teach our audience how to heal endo, which is endometriosis. Because we were talking about that earlier, that's March's Endometriosis Awareness Month.
Sure is.
Yeah, we were just sharing some stories too. As a functional medicine doc, you specialize in turning normal labs into answers. I love that. Healing and hope. And you'd love to share 3 steps you recommend taking to lower high estrogen levels. I'm all ears. Go ahead and share with us whatever you'd like to share.
All right. So we think about endometriosis and we think heavy, painful periods. They're miserable. They're awful. I dread them every month. I've had people even say that they've lost jobs over them because they can't work during this time of the month. And, you know, women comes around every month, right?
Yeah.
So it really sucks. It's really hard. And you go into your gynecologist or even an endometriosis specialist and they say, okay, you've got 2 options, 1 birth control, 2 hysterectomy.
Mm-hmm.
You say hysterectomy to a 20-year-old, they're no, not even an option, especially if they want to have kids, right? Then they try birth control. And if birth control has estrogen in it, which they often do, all hell breaks loose. And now they have a period for 3 months straight.
Oh,
Happens very, very common. So how do we dive into what actually causes this heavy, painful period? And if we can figure out the cause, which I'm going to teach you, then we can remove it, right? So the first thing is when we think about heavy, painful periods, we have to think about, why do I bleed so much? How do I stop that? Mm-hmm. And to get a grasp on what's happening to our physiology here, us women, we have this thing called the uterus. That uterus has a lining, and that lining is called our endometrium. Hence the name endometriosis. It grows and grows and grows throughout the first half of the month. Depending on how thick your lining is, depends on how crappy your period is. Or if you're like me, it's just a simple walk in the park for like 2 days.
wow.
I know, right?
Mine's not that bad, but it's not that good either. So
yeah, so you're in the between. You're probably normal. Mine's just more on the light side, and it even got better with hormone birth control. Whereas if it's on the heavy side, where you have a really thick endometrium layer that you have to slough off every month. And what controls the thickness of that layer is the hormone estrogen. Mm-hmm. So if our estrogen levels keep getting higher and higher and higher and higher, which they do if you have endometriosis, and then you go get birth control and it's more estrogen. So now you're bleeding every day for 3 months. And it's a very common story, whether you're my age or my mother's age. If you talk a lot into that generation, these 50 to 60-year-olds, and they go in and they had a hysterectomy and the doctor says, oh, your uterus was really thick, really big. Mm-hmm. And then you backtrack and they're like, yeah, we had heavy, painful periods. That was just normal to us. Sometimes they get pregnant, sometimes they don't. Just depends on the luck of the draw, I guess. So you can backtrack 20 years ago. They didn't really know much about endometriosis. And even now, it's still this speak endo. I want you to speak endo. But then I want to take it to the next level and let's heal it.
Yes.
Speaking about it isn't just good enough. Mm-hmm. Okay. So go to your gynecologist and tell them actually don't even go to your gynecologist. Just listen to me and I'll tell you exactly what you need to do. 3 steps to making your next period less painful than the past. The first one is, how does the estrogen become so high? And then once we figure out how, we can lower it. So estrogen has to go through our liver, hangs out in our liver for a couple days, whether your liver's too busy doing other things that never gets to the estrogen. So the estrogen just says, okay, I'm going back into the body, and it goes back into the bloodstream. But your body continues to make it too. So now it's getting higher and higher and higher, all because when it gets to the liver, it doesn't get broken down like it should. If it gets broken down and eliminated, that's a good thing. That means your periods are going to be less sucky, more like my periods, right? So when we take a look at this liver component and we say, okay, how do I make my liver process the estrogen? How do I lower its burden? How do I lower the toxic burden on my body? There's a couple of things I highly recommend. The easiest thing is, what are the most common 3 products that you use every day? And just find a better version of them, a more natural version of them. So whether it's shampoo and conditioner, check the ingredient list. If it's a million miles long and you can't say half of them, kind of get a better upgrade to more of a natural, whether it's coconut oil based or whatever. That would be a great start. Another great option is to look at what type of oils you're using to cook your foods in. Is it vegetable oil, or should we upgrade to more of a avocado coconut oil? Coconut oil is going to give you your coconut flavor. Avocado oil doesn't have any flavor to it. So you can just make these simple upgrades in your house with your daily products that you use, and that will lower your toxic load, remove some burden off of your liver, which will then lower your estrogen, which will make your periods a lot better. No birth control or hysterectomy needed. So take a look at those products that you use in your house. Another option is either to do like plastic Tupperware containers versus glass. Now for me, I have a 4-year-old who turned 4 yesterday, and he's climbing the cupboards all the time. Glass is not an option. It would shatter all the time. So make sure you're being realistic and don't be hard on yourself if you're like me and you still use plastic, because it's just not going to be smart. So that's the first step. The second step is to, in regards to specifically lowering the toxic load in your body, would be to probably cut out some of these foods that your body doesn't agree with. And the most common food would be gluten. So if you're thinking you have heavy, painful periods and you want that next period to be a little bit smoother, like I literally have women who take a half of oxycodone to get through their period. Wow. Because it's that painful. And the one, she's trying to get pregnant right now, and I'm like, well, we got some work to do, but we can do it. Give me 6 months, and the hysterectomy and birth control, you don't need that stuff.
Listen to Dr. Kylie.
Yeah, sorry. So the whole concept of endometriosis and heavy painful periods, there's like this mystery behind it. And we're cracking through the mystery here. So if you're thinking, okay, I've done a couple products, I've upgraded my shampoos and conditioners or my lotions, whatever it is, even makeup's a popular thing too. Of course, us women, we wear it every day. So if you can naturally increase or improve your products to a more natural product, that would be a great option as well. Then the next thing would be, do I have some food culprits that I need to get rid of? Now, if you were to say to me, every time you go to Texas Roadhouse and you want to eat their rolls and I can't, I like my rolls. I like my bread. Do I need to eat it all the time? No. But what I can do, and what people like to do, is I'm going to eliminate these foods, gluten specifically, for 21 days. And just 21 days has shown to take the inflammatory marker on our labs and to reduce them. So that's all you need. 3 weeks. Just clean it out of your diet for 3 weeks, reboot that gut, calm down the liver as it doesn't have to process it anymore. And naturally, you're going to have a lighter period the next go around. Gluten's the biggest culprit. The second culprit would be dairy, sorry. Dairy would be another big culprit. And then last but not least, the refined sugars. I always say refined sugars because I'm a fan of fruits. I don't think people should be cutting fruit out of their diet. And when I say sugar, a lot of people will think about, well, can I eat fruit? So just refined sugars. Okay. We following, girls?
I wish I would have met you in 2017. I actually had the condition. I had my uterus and my fallopian tubes removed.
Did you?
But I still have my ovaries.
Okay, good. So you had the heavy, painful periods and know exactly what I'm talking about?
I didn't have the pain, but I had so much blood. Me and Tiffany were just talking about it. I had so much blood in a 24-hour period that I had to miss work because sometimes I'd be in a meeting and I would soak through my pants. I was changing every 30 minutes with the Super Plus
Holy
tampon.
smokes.
Super Plus tampon and a super overnight pad. I was soaking through that every 30 minutes for a 24-hour period. And then the next day, gone. Completely gone. And I went to so many doctors for so many years. And in 2017, I finally met one who took it out. And she told me the uterus was very fatty. She said,
very large.
You needed to take it out. And I was like, okay. Because she wanted to put me on birth control. I was like, I don't want to be on birth control. So yeah, I
interesting.
I went
Do you? I mean, if your heavy periods are like that, I'm sure not having one is glorious.
I love it. I was telling Tiffany though, I think does your body still remember? Because I still have spotting around my period time and I still get the cramping sometimes. And I don't know.
That's so interesting. You know, a lot of people will say, well, what do I do if I don't have a period and I'm menopausal? And it happens whether it's like the moon cycle, just naturally our bodies adjust to the moon cycle, or, you know, going through high school, I would go months and months and months without a period. And my doctor would just say, well, it's because you're an athlete. Like, it's common with athletics. And then I get into college where I'm a college athlete as well, but I'm around 6 other different women who live in the same apartment and we're all getting on the same time. And it was just funny because I was so regulated in undergrad with these women around me and all this estrogen going on, but I was more athletic and I was working out, you know, way more than I ever did in college versus not in college. So I think, you know, we have these, whether you want to call it the alpha female or not, I don't know if that's a thing, but they're like one person in the apartment of 6 girls. We all sync up to her and follow each other along the month, which that time of the month can get pretty risky, but so maybe you are syncing up to somebody. Or the moon cycles.
I noticed that me and Tiffany, whenever Tiffany texts me and says that she's on hers, I'm actually going through symptoms. So I don't know if I'm on Tiffany's cycle.
Tiffany, you're the alpha male, female here.
Because she'll text me and say I need to rest a bit, you know, it's at that time of month, or, you know, I think you sent me a couple texts, Tiffany, and I'm like, wow, I'm experiencing some, like, I get the backache still. It's really weird.
Well, you still have your ovaries and they're still pumping out hormones, which thank goodness, because we need those hormones.
Yeah.
But lucky for you, you don't have the uterus anymore. But it's like when you get told as a 20-year-old that you have to have a hysterectomy, you're like, no. There's got to be something different.
I had 4 boys, so I just I practically begged the doctor. I said, I had a party like after my uterus came out. I was like, I was so happy. I have never been like, I'm happy now, but I was really happy when that thing came out. I was like, thank goodness.
Did your hormones change like pre-baby versus post-babies?
No, I mean, I do get hot flashes. I get this where my body feels like it's boiling, like hot water. And then I sweat at night, but I don't get anything else really. I get moody though. I do get really, really moody.
Like, boys, watch out.
my husband reminds me, are you going through something right now?
Well, as women, we do go through cycles, and it is natural for us to feel like we're 4 different people during the month at each phase of the cycle.
Yeah.
It's just interesting because people don't understand what's happening in the cycle, for one, and then 2, how do we work our way and get those hormones balanced without the use of birth control. And growing up, I was terrified of birth control. I thought birth control caused all of these people to have infertility because they'd get off of it and then they couldn't get pregnant. When in reality, the hormone chaos was already happening. Right. It was just birth control was being used as the Band-Aid to cover the hormone chaos. And once the Band-Aid got taken off, it was still there. Nothing had been done to resolve it. And so the infertility resulted. But yeah, I remember thinking birth control. I did my research. I mean, I was terrified of that stuff. And now I'm like, if I get looked at wrong, I'm pregnant with my husband. But so it's birth control for us. But at the time when I was learning about it and I'm hearing about birth control and infertility and all these hormone issues with PCOS and endometriosis, like it was a scary thing in high school.
Mhm.
And then I realized, it's not birth control's problem. It's the lack of people being able to fix the hormones, and the way that they're fixing them because of the toolkit that gynecologists are given. The toolkit themselves is limited. It's not the gyne. They're trying their best, but they just don't have a very big toolkit that they're pulling from. And they're inside their toolkit is either 1, birth control, or 2, hysterectomy. They haven't been taught or understand the intricacies of what can happen with PCOS and endometriosis, especially endo. A lot of people talk about PCOS and can factor into the lifestyle choices to balance out the blood sugar and lower the testosterone. But then when it comes to endo, that's why I love talking about it, because it's not understood very well.
Mm-hmm.
And the more we learn about endo in these heavy, painful periods, the more I think in 10 years, it might even get put on the autoimmune disease list, because it's becoming more that direction with autoimmune components.
Mm-hmm.
So eventually I think it will end up on that list. But so we've tackled high estrogen. We've got to fix the estrogen levels with the liver. That's the first place to start. So we talked about the products that we use inside our home, how we can make those less toxic to reduce our log toxic load. And then 2, do we need to cut out some foods for just 21 days? That's it, just 21 days. Then you can go back and eat it. You might not feel very good, but you can go back and eat it. So it's basically just a reboot. Your body is what I call it, a 21-day reboot. And then the third component would be, do I actually need to perform a liver cleanse or a liver detox? Now, the difference is a liver cleanse is going to be something like, hey, I'm going to juice all my foods for 3 days straight. And that can help. It can definitely help you feel better during those 3 days and even beyond, because you're reducing the burden being placed on your liver. But when it comes to a liver detox is going to contain supplements and drinks and whatever detox you choose to do. It's going to replenish your liver and all of the detox organs with necessary ingredients to complete the detox process. So one of those big ingredients is this thing called glutathione. And glutathione is required for our bodies to complete the detox processes. The problem with it is because we live in the environment we live in, there's these crap, toxic, heavy metal stuff in the air, in our food, like whatever you want to do, you can't avoid it, period. It's part of living in 21st century. But what we can do is we can give our body the tools it needs to get rid of these things better. And when it comes to mercury specifically, mercury, the heavy metal, is like the mercury fillings in our teeth.
Mm-hmm.
It's literally going to bind to the glutathione and still it from our body. And without that stuff, our liver can't go through natural detox processes. So there's really 2 good ways to get glutathione and other ingredients inside our bodies. 1, we got a supplement. And 2, these crazy things called coffee enemas. I prefer to supplement because I don't want to do a coffee enema. But there are some people who are religious about coffee enemas, and I don't know the mechanism behind it, but somehow it stimulates the body's production of glutathione. Just be careful if you want to dive into that world.
I've done it twice.
You have, Tiffany? Tell me your experience.
Well, my husband and I were watching a documentary about the Gerson therapy, because they're known to heal.
He's the one that basically started it, as I'm aware of.
Yeah, so that's where we got it from, and we just decided, because back then, this was like almost 10 years ago, is when we first started this changing everything that you just said, changing into healthier products and healthier food, and we did that. And it's crazy how much stuff, how many toxins and chemicals and stuff that we have in our bodies. It's nuts. But we did it, and I don't know if I could tell you like if there was really a difference.
What was it like? I just want to know the experience.
Well, my husband and I did it together, so he helped me, because it's, you have to be relaxed. You don't have to be clenched. It just be relaxed, and you have to try to hold it in there as long as you can. I forget if there's a certain amount of time you're supposed to hold the coffee in. I don't remember.
And it's like a very, very specific coffee bean. Like this isn't just anything you just grab off your grocery store.
I forget the type of water.
Is it distilled?
Distilled, thank you. Distilled water. You can't just use water from the faucet. Don't do that.
Yeah.
Distilled water and organic coffee. which we had on hand anyway. But yeah, so that was it. My husband did all that part. He did that whole part, and I just participated.
So
And
you did it twice though, which means the first time go around it wasn't terrifying because you did it again.
Yeah, that was the way a long time ago. And then my husband and I, after the holidays, he wanted to do it again. So I was like, okay, sure, why not? Let's do it again. Can't hurt, right? So
yeah.
But again, I don't know if I really felt any different. I don't know, to be completely honest. I don't maybe
Well, you experienced it, which is more brave than me. I had someone come in and they're like, I've done a coffee enema every day for 18 months straight.
every day.
And she's not getting anywhere in improvement. I'm like, okay, if you're putting that much effort into your physical health, we need to start looking into your environment and seeing if you're that good on the inside and you're going home to a crappy environment every time you go from some magical $1,500 treatment plan, whatever someone sells you on. And sure enough, she had mold everywhere in her house. And that was the big culprit. I'm like, well, I wish somebody caught that 10 years ago. You would have saved yourself $100,000 and lots of treatments. But yeah, so our environment, it's just tough on the body. And people always are like, well, how does this happen? It literally is just a result of us living in the environments we live in. It's not a fault of anybody. So take the burden off of your shoulders and don't think something's wrong with me or I did something wrong. It's just simply because we live in the environment we live in. And that's the bottom line.
Yeah. Wow.
Don't you think that if men knew more about just the basics of a female's menstrual cycle, that there'd be less fighting?
I think if women understood ourselves better,
Yeah.
You're
we
right.
would understand that, okay, the first half of the cycle, I'm going to be able to be good with my diet and I'm not going to need to reach for the carbs because that's natural. My estrogen is helping me balance out my blood sugar. Whereas the second half of the cycle, hey, I'm going to crave more sugar and I'm going to indulge a few days. Like for me, I noticed when I learned that fact, I was like, oh my gosh, that makes so much sense because I'll go for, 2 weeks at a time now that I've been keeping track and I can eat a regular healthy meal. But then in the second half of the cycle, all I need is just like one bite of chocolate afterwards. That's it. Just one bite. And I've always given it to myself. And now I know why, because in the first half, I understand my body can do more of the low carb type thing as it's already balancing out the blood sugar. But in the second half, I need more help and I'm going to need more carbs just naturally. So when you're trying to push through the dietary regimen or whatever athletic exercise regimen you're doing, just know during your cycle, you're not going to want to exercise. And that's totally fine. Let your body chill, hang out, especially if you're in Lauren's situation. Now she's like kicking trash.
I love it.
Loving every day of the month. But just know that there are times in our cycle that we're going to want to do things more than other things and totally obey it. Let your body do that. Let your body relax and chill. And during the second week of your cycle, when you can do HIIT training in the gym and go hard, go do the HIIT training thing. But especially as women, I don't think we allow ourselves time. We don't to heal, for one, especially postpartum. And two, we don't allow ourselves those breaks in the month when it should just be natural. We always think, we have to stay on this diet for 3 months straight. We have to hit the gym for 3 months straight. And naturally, that's not what our bodies want. And we're going to fight it. So it's not the lack of motivation. It's not the lack of brain power. It's just my hormones want me to do something at one time of the month and another thing at another time of the month. And I'm going to do it. So not only do men need to understand it, which men, I think, at least my husband, he's just as terrified of the whole concept of menstrual cycle period versus women understanding ourselves and knowing that, hey, do I need help? Do I need some balance in my hormones? And I'm not saying go run and grab testosterone pellets and go run and grab creams. In fact, I don't even like those things. But what I am saying is understand who you are. It's going to change every week. So don't be hard on yourself when you want to just go to the gym or go for a walk at night rather than going to the gym and pushing it hard. That's my little scent on.
I haven't been to the gym in over a year.
Yeah. and you're healthy and fit, and you don't need to. I love it when people say, well, when I exercise, I garden, or I go for hikes. Like, we have this concept of exercising and gym, or exercising and running, and it's just not the best, especially for our hormones. If you're already stressed and then you go push yourself for a 3-mile run at night, that's just adding more stress to your body.
Yeah.
And you might need to tone it back. And when I tell people, let's pause on the exercise regimen, it's like blasphemy. And they think it's crazy. I'm like, no, listen, we've got to get your body to calm down first before any healing can take place. And if you continue to press hard every day in the gym, it's not going to look pretty.
Yeah. I don't.
So give yourself, ladies, give yourself time, give yourself breaks. It's good.
Yeah. Give yourself a year break. You'll still be fine. I'm still in good shape. I mean, I have a little more weight around my waist area, but it's not bad.
Well, I'm 10 months postpartum. I have a spin bike. I think I've gone on it 3 times in 10 months. And people are always asking me, like, how do you look so fit when you don't go to the gym? I'm like, my life is a gym. Have you picked up my baby? Have you picked up my toddler?
Right?
Lift them up. That's why I have arms. So if we change our mindset, think, my life is exercise. Now, me sitting on my chair all day long, by the end of the day, I'm tired and I want to get up and go run stairs or walk outside or do something. But I'm trying to figure out a way in the summertime to be able to have like phone calls on work and talk to people over the phone, which I do Zoom now because I'm all completely virtual. But if I do phone calls now, I can go outside and I can just walk, and I can walk trails. And, I live in Utah where the mountains are 20 minutes away from me. So I can just go walk trails, do it, and work at the same time. So we can find ways to integrate exercise into our daily regimen. We don't necessarily have to go to the gym to get this perceived exercise. And ultimately, it might not be good for our hormones. And speaking of hormones and endometriosis. So
yeah, Tiffany lives in Utah too.
You do? Where at?
I'm in Saratoga Springs.
Okay, that's really weird because when I was looking at so I grew up in Utah. I'm in Syracuse, Layton area, Clinton. So when we were looking at starting my practice, I literally was looking at moving to Eagle Mountain in Saratoga Springs. And I swore to myself I would never live in Utah County. And I also swore to myself I would never come back to Davis County. But I came back from Oregon where I went to school, came back, and I bought the same house I grew up in. So not only did I come back to Davis County, I bought the exact same specific house from my parents.
Wow.
So that's how life hangs out. But
that's awesome. My husband's from Utah too. He's from Bountiful.
Oh,
he grew up there.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's like a hop, skip, and a jump away from me, 20 minutes away.
I actually want to move back there. His whole family's there. I want to move back because it's cheaper than California. I live in California.
It's way cheaper, but I will tell you the real estate right now is crazy.
Oh, it is. Okay.
But from what you can get in California versus what you can get here, you'll probably think it's way cheap.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Come to Utah. It's a great place.
I love Utah. I went there. My husband proposed in Utah. We went to a wedding in Utah. I love Utah. I visited, like, there's a Red Rock area. I can't remember what city that was, but
Moab.
I loved it. So
yeah,
my husband doesn't love it.
If you like outdoors.
Utah gives him anxiety. He'll never move back.
Well, there are cultural problems. Tiffany will say it, but there are cultural problems here.
That's what he said.
But if you want outdoor stuff, this is the place to be.
Yeah.
We're actually thinking of moving to St. George because the snow's just too much. Like, my kids, it's just too cold. They don't even want to go outside. Like, I mean, it's starting to warm up now. I mean, the other day it was snowing here.
Yeah, it was.
It was coming down and like, it's March.
Yeah.
Like, we're tropical people. So like, we realize that we would thrive better in a warmer environment. So we're looking to move to St. George. It's,
I like St. George.
still in Utah, but warmer.
Yeah.
I got my bachelor's degree at SUU in Cedar City in southern Utah. And I coached volleyball at Hurricane High. So if you're looking at going warm, I would look in the Hurricane Valley. That would be where I would live versus St. George. But then they go to Hurricane High School. And I mean, it's just like a small town feel, but yet it's warmth. And then if you want the snow, you just go 30 minutes north and you got snow. and you go 10 minutes to the west, I think, and it's Zion's.
Wow.
Yeah, cool. So finishing up here, endometriosis. We're talking heavy, painful periods. We got to reduce the toxic load as the biggest concept. But then the second component that's often correlated with it is an overgrowth of candida.
Yes.
So candidiasis is very common, especially in women, to have fungal overgrowths. And one of the big culprits for food is the sugar. The sugar is going to feed the candida. So if you want to do the 21-day, I highly recommend cutting out the sugar. And then the last but not least component with the endometriosis is it could possibly be an autoimmune component.
Mm-hmm.
So you think immune system, you think, okay, what's triggering my immune system? Remove the triggers. Some of those could be food. Some of those are environmental, some of them are toxic, like we've all been discussing. And then with calming the immune system down, you can use things like vitamin D it's my favorite thing for calming the immune system down and feeling good generally, whether it's anxiety, depression, or your brain fog is going crazy or whatever it is. Vitamin D is phenomenal, but you'll probably not be taking enough of it. So I'll tell you what I recommend for vitamin D is 25,000 IUs of vitamin D per day. And if you take vitamin D, you're like, whoa, that's a lot. I'm taking like 2,000. And the prescription dosage is 50,000 IUs of vitamin D per week. So I'm saying 25,000 per day. Do that for a month. Just see how you feel.
Mm.
Then the next month, go down to 20,000 IUs of vitamin D per day for month 2. And then month 3 would be 15,000 and then maintain at 10,000. And it doesn't matter if you live in Florida or if you live in Utah or California. Vitamin D, our bodies can't assimilate it like they could. The sun has to go through so much crap to even get to our bodies. Then our bodies are so overburdened that we're not getting the vitamin D that we should be getting. And I pull thousands and thousands of medical records. And a lot of times vitamin D is in there and it will be within that normal range, that 30 to 100 normal range. But knowing that your vitamin D is at 30 versus having it at 100, there's a big difference in how you feel, even though you're within that normal range, right? And there's a handful of people that I've ever seen around 80, which is where I like to see it. So whether you have vitamin D levels or not, and you're just like, I'm feeling this anxiety, this depression, brain fog, my immune system, was combating my endometriosis or whatever it is. If you have Hashimoto's, anything, vitamin D is just such a great thing to take. And it's so simple. Mm-hmm. You get profound benefit. So start with vitamin D. That will literally calm the immune system down, stop the attack. And then of course our immune system is our gut. So we've got to rehab the gut. But that would be the big endometriosis 3 components. So we've got the liver with the estrogen. We possibly could have a candida overgrowth. And then last but not least, is it an autoimmune factor?
Awesome. Wow, this is so good. Yeah, I wish I met you in 2017.
I would love to see what your labs say. I have a podcast called Beyond the Diagnosis with me, Dr. Kylie. And on the podcast, I had a lady come in and she's like, well, I have a really terrible postpartum story. So this will make you feel better, Lauren. I had never met her. I was like, okay, cool. So she starts talking about endometriosis and PCOS. And I'm thinking, yes, I can, get into good stuff here, which we do. But then she tells me what happened is once she lost her first marriage over it, because she couldn't get pregnant. So she's already lost a marriage over it. 2, she had to decide, okay, do I want a life or do I want a chance to create life? Just a chance. So she opted at 32 years old, I believe, to go in and have a hysterectomy. So they go in, they take her uterus out, and they're starting to take all of these tissues out. Because what can happen is if our endometrium becomes so big, it can actually start to grow and attach to different things inside our abs, our abdominal cavity, which is why people can experience constant pain with endometriosis. So the surgeon goes in, takes out her uterus, and then starts taking out these endometriosis tissues, the clumps of tissue, right? But before you can leave the hospital, you have to be able to pee. There's a problem. She can't pee. So she's 32 years old, just had this hysterectomy, and discovered, I think it was months later, she discovered that the nerve that innervates her kidneys got removed during the surgery.
Oh my God.
In one of those clumps of tissues. So she's 32 years old and now has to use a catheter for the rest of her life
Oh,
to pee.
poor thing.
No kidding, right? And she's, she lives in Utah, was always active hiking, and now she's learned that, to catheter yourself outside in the mountains, you're going to get a UTI just because of everything that's there. So it's created a big kink in her lifestyle that she's had to work her way around. But it's an issue, and it's an issue for a lot of people. So don't just speak endo, but let's heal it. And let's get those heavy, painful periods gone, so we can all have Lauren's lifestyle.
Yeah. Things have changed though. My sex drive's kind of weird now. So
yeah.
but
But you're still having, like, you still have your ovaries, which is always a good thing because they're the ones that produce the hormones.
yeah.
But one of the ways to improve the libido would be to take some minerals.
Oh,
You want to take it in supplement form, which is what I recommend, especially if you're postpartum. Taking minerals is really good for our hormonal health,
okay.
and especially the hair. So like right now, I've got all these 2-inch, 3-inch hairs growing back from postpartum, and I'm pounding the minerals because I want my hair to, 1, grow back fast, and 2, be healthy and strong again. Well, those minerals are an
is
important.
minerals like a vitamin?
You can, minerals like zinc.
Oh, okay.
Let me grab mine real fast. And
Okay, yeah, this is
on
good.
the list.
This is good stuff. I need to increase my libido, Tiffany. My husband wants it more. I mean, we have